So welcome back to the channel, and today folks, I woke up and I'm like, I feel like building a computer. Well, with computer prices, that's gonna hurt the wallet. You gotta take out a couple of mortgages and all that type of stuff. And this is why I like older hardware. Number one, it is relatively affordable depending on how old you go. Sometimes it can still be relevant, and depending on what you're using it for, it probably still is relevant. If you're going for a retro build, maybe a modernist build, but some of this stuff still holds up years later. So now I've been on a binge. I've been going through my stuff, just purging like crazy, throwing stuff out, putting stuff up on eBay, trying to put a build or two together here and there. But I just kind of feel like putting a build together that's older, tinkering with it, using it for a while, and seeing how well I enjoy it. So let me show you what I found lying around in the garage that I totally forgot about. So to kind of put things in perspective, I got a bunch of stuff like all up there, projects and things I need to go through. Way back in that corner is my cool retro stuff. Got my Pentium 4 and my Dell Pentium 3. Love those two things, probably never get rid of them. Fun to tinker around with every now and then. And a whole bunch of other stuff that I need to work on. Up there, honestly, couldn't really tell you what's up there. I know I got fans and a case, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that I still need to go through. So the pile is getting smaller. My junk work table, it's improving. We got the case that we'll be using today, so we'll take a look at that in just a sec. This Dell monitor, free. Somebody was just getting rid of it and I picked it up. I think it's like a 1440p, so not a bad deal. I got this mess of stuff that I need to go through. Do need to get around to this Alienware PC. I think it has like a 6500 XT. Graphics card might be bad. The computer might be bad. I don't know. We took a quick look at it in one of my videos, so I haven't dived in past that. We have this Dell Optiplex. Actually, no, it's a Dell Vostro. It's an i5 9th gen. Yeah, I think it's an i5 9th gen. There might be drives and storage in there. I don't remember. I don't know. This is a cool retro project that I really want to dive into. It's an old IBM computer, ThinkCenter, Pentium 4, hyper-threading. The good stuff. That iBoss that I still haven't messed with. Don't know what I'm going to do with it. And I think there's some old motherboards and stuff in that box and something up there. So yeah, got a lot of stuff that I still need to purge, get through, and do some projects and knock out some projects. And up here, yeah, I got a bunch of stuff. Now, just because I have a lot of stuff doesn't mean I have a lot of stuff. It could just mean that I have a lot of junk, which that I do. We're getting better, but I definitely need to go through that. So this is what we got. X99. This is the ASRock X99 Extreme 4, built back in 2014. And like I said, I found this in a box, just kind of lying around the garage. Forgot I had it. Got this thing like what, 6 to 8 months ago. And it comes with a Intel Xeon E5-2667 V3. This is a combo that I picked up in a used parts deal from a viewer, so greatly appreciate it. It did come with the memory, so we have 16 gigs. This is ECC. 4 of the 16 gig sticks, so 64 gigs of DDR4. I think it's PC 2400 if I'm not mistaken. For our storage, we're just going to go with a simple M.2 500 gig SK Hynix. That should be more than enough for what I'm planning to do with it. Power supply, I have this one lying around. So it's an OCZ 700 watt power supply. It's been tested, stress tested, and it works perfect. I got this on a computer pickup that I did in upstate New York. I tried to hunt down that computer for 3 years. It came with this super computer and this really cool NVIDIA PC case. I'll post a link to that video if you're interested. But just like that computer, I mean, this power supply looks like it was never used. I mean, no dust, very clean. So, and it tests perfect. Now for the cooler, mostly because it's the only cooler that I have for this that will work, it's the Heligon Series HE01. It's by Silverstone. Really cool, beefy, girthy cooler. It's got the Silverstone logo. Just seems like it would be period correct. I forget what year this was manufactured. I'll look it up and I'll post it on the screen, but it just seems right. And it's the only one I have. I mean, look at this fan. Wow. I think it'll definitely get the job done. Now this board does have Molex on it. This, I think, came with it. Goes something right over here. If I'm being honest with you, I don't know if I need this or don't need this. Let me know in the comments. I'll probably do some research. We're just gonna go ahead and just run with it, plug it in, because it just seems like the right thing to do back in 2014. Why not? And for the graphics card, realistically, the way to do this right would be to go with something like a 980 or 980 Ti, but I don't have any. And you could pick up a 980 for like 20 or 40 bucks last time I checked. It might have gone up since then. I don't know. 980 Ti, probably a little bit higher. But doing some research, I found a graphics card that is comparable to it and that should be a little bit better and definitely get the job done. This one is either the 1660 Super or Ti. I think this one is a 1660 Ti. I got this out of an OEM system. Great card, great graphics card, still works. If I find these cheap, I definitely do pick them up and throw them in budget builds, although I haven't really done a budget build in a while. But anyways, doing the research and just kind of reading online, it's supposed to be slightly better than the 980. So we'll see. This is the setup. And I'm excited. I'm excited to game on a 12-year-old system, use it, daily driver it for a little bit, and see how well this X99 holds up a year later. Yes, there's gonna be some limitations and stuff like that, and that's to be expected, but why not have fun? So let's go ahead and let's show you the case that we're gonna use. So this is our case. It's a weird looking case. It's an NZXT one. Which flavor? Couldn't tell you. I just know it says NZXT right over here. It's just got a weird shape going on. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just, I don't know what the case is doing. Yeah, it's supposed to be, you know, ventilation, intake, all that type of stuff, or exhaust, depending on how you set it up right over here. But it's just, that shape is kind of weird. Dual chamber, I think it's called, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I can't keep up with all these trends. Let's go ahead and just open this thing up. Take a look inside. Oh yeah, pretty simple. I mean, nothing too fancy. Ooh, we got a splitter. Sweet. Probably definitely gonna need that. Now for the fans, we have these iceberg thermal fans. That was also part of the deal where I got this case and all that type of stuff. The reason why I'm using these fans, because, well, they all match. And that's pretty much the only reason for it. So looking at this right over here, looks like this case was modified. I don't think that should affect anything. Probably take a little marker, clean that up, you know? But looking at this case, I think we're gonna go with 2 140s on the top. How many can we put there? 1, 2, 3 120s over there, a 120 over here. And I think that should be okay. And you might be asking, what's the RGB gonna be like? I'm not doing any RGB with this. Number one, I'm not a fan of the RGB. Number two, I don't have any extra RGB. And number three, I don't feel like spending money on RGB. So yeah, we're not gonna be doing any RGB with it. But I'm gonna go ahead off camera, clean this case, install those fans, and then we'll start putting the system together. Mount this in just like that. Now we need our 8-pin for our CPU, so we're gonna feed that in right through the top. This could kind of hang out here for now. And while we're here, we'll go ahead and get these in that splitter. I still have to install the exhaust fan for the rear. Let's get a splitter going for here, which, there we go. I'm definitely gonna have to buy some more splitters because I'm running out. I had a bunch for a while, but so many fans in these new cases. Oh my gosh. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the rear IO plate for this, but it's okay. Yes, I could probably find it on eBay, but we're tinkering, you know? It'll be okay. Now we can take this one, plug it in there, and we're going to tuck all this back in there. Come on. Now our 8-pin goes right in here. Cool. Let's lock this board in with the correct screws. Now for this, I have a SATA adapter. And like I said, I'm not sure if you need it or not, but it just seems period correct. Yeah, that's gonna look classy right there. That'll work. It's not like I'm using that memory slot. At least not now, maybe later, and then we'll figure things out, and maybe I don't even need that. Let me know in the comments. And honestly, I really wish I did have that I/O plate, but it's okay. What's up? All right, coming in. You know, the ketchup and mustard cables just seem fitting for this build. Wife said dinner's ready, so guess what I'm gonna do? Go eat. We'll be back. Man, dinner was good. Hot dogs and french fries on the grill. Delicious. All right, so we gotta feed some cables. Hello, where are you? There you are. Okay, and let's see, we have HD audio and front panel. So the USB one's gonna go right through here. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see. I might just feed it right up here, if I'm being honest with you folks. Oh, that's not even the right one. I grabbed the wrong cable. Let's try this again. I think that'll work. HD audio down here. Where is it at? Is it right here? We'll just randomly force things and shove it in and see if it works. No, it's right there. I double checked. All right, now we need our front panel, which should feed right over here. And bingo. All right, okay, looking good. Now we need to yes, I know, cable manage. We'll get there eventually. But for now, I just kind of want to put it together, play with it, tinker with it, you know, the good stuff. So we have these 3 headers right over here into the splitter. We don't have type C, so we're not worried about that. I can hang out right over there. I use this SATA for that Molex adapter. Yeah. And we need PCIe, so I'm thinking we're gonna go right through here. This could kind of all hang out here for now. What was this one for? What was this one for? It's a splitter. There was 3. Yeah, there we go. All right, that's fine for now. Right down here. Yep, chassis fan. Kind of tuck this down here, you know? Try to make it look a little snazzy. Yeah. And now for the graphics card. Now we need a 4-pin, which is going to be this one. Tuck that right there just for now. All right, snazzy. Now let's go ahead and put in our panels, which I think these pop in like this. Yeah. This one's gonna go up top. Pop this one in, and I will come back and cable manage this, but I just kind of want to see the whole final product, you know? And finally, all right, not too bad. I'll take it. But the question is, does it work? Now, I do know this motherboard works because I tested it months ago. So why would something just randomly not work? Who knows? Here goes nothing. Woo! We're going full beans. Okay. I was getting nervous because typically on older hardware that I can remember, when I went full beans, that means something was not working right. But we got our CPU, memory, quadruple channel. Let's see if we can go to hardware monitor and calm this down. Silent. 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 All right, exit. Save changes and exit. All right, that sounds a lot better. Well, let me go through these settings, grab a copy of Windows 11, and we'll be back. It's been 2 weeks, and I've been using this as my daily driver, and it's actually been great. Kind of decent, not too bad for a 12-year-old PC. And we're gonna dive into all the details on it. So first off, I'm using Windows 11. All the activations and the latest and greatest updates and all that type of stuff, and it works. And you might be saying, well, X99 doesn't have support for that. You're absolutely right, it doesn't. But Rufus is your friend. And I know Microsoft is eventually gonna hammer it down, but until then, I'm just gonna keep using Windows 11. And the whole point of using the Windows 11 is to show, really submerge myself into the experience of the OS that I commonly use. Yes, I still use Windows and I have Linux machines, but I still use Windows for a lot of the stuff that I commonly have to do. Along with most people are still using Windows. So yeah, we're able to run Windows 11 and it runs pretty decent. Now I know there's Linux, don't get me wrong folks, Linux is an option and it can be a better option, but I wanna use the most common experience that people will be using. Now for daily use, as far as, you know, browsing the internet, webs, video, all that type of stuff, emails, all that type of stuff, it works fine, obviously. More than enough power to do that. But I also wanted to dive into what I also commonly use, which is video editing and gaming. And quite frankly, the results, well, let's take a look. So video editing, I use DaVinci Resolve, and that's what I use to edit all my videos. I actually edited 2 videos last week. I mostly do my videos in 1080p. And even today, just kind of going back and editing an old video, 7 minutes is around 4 minutes. Now, in a couple of videos that I did try to edit with 1440p, the time was about 10 minutes. And then obviously, and this is for a 7-minute video, 4K took about 23 minutes, but it got it done. Editing and using all the tools on DaVinci Resolve, I really didn't run into no hiccups. So as far as editing, yeah, this definitely can get it done. Now, different softwares might give you different mileage, but as far as I'm concerned, I only use DaVinci Resolve. Folks, it works. Now, before we dive into gaming, I do want to point this out. I went ahead and I added a little bit of lighting. It just looks a lot better. I just found a cheap strip that I had lying around. I think I may have paid $10 for it. And I just gave it this white light. It really kind of helps actually just make it more visible. It just pops a lot more. I mean, RGB, you have a lot of customizations, but sometimes just a simple, you know, cool, warm lighting really makes a difference, and it really helps the system to pop. Just sitting there on the desk, just looking at it, I mean, it was just dark and really didn't highlight some of the accents, like, you know, the ketchup and mustard cables, the silver cooler, the blue fans, the blue on the motherboard, green GeForce RTX, the red. The white lighting just really brings all that stuff to light. So yeah, I caved. Now, gaming on this machine is really going to depend on the type of games that you're trying to play. I'm playing right now a bunch of older games, some newer games, but for the most part, my gaming experience has been really good. But we're going to dive into some higher demanding games and see how well it performs. So we have the Cyberpunk, 1080p, medium settings, resolution scaling, AMD Fidelity, FX Super Resolution 2.1, texture quality medium, and we're going to go ahead and run the benchmark. So in the benchmark, we're looking average probably about, I'm going to say we're probably going to be average about 60 frames per second. In the prior scene, it jumped up to about 70, but obviously as we get into more demanding scenes, yeah, it's going to be a little more taxing on it. So our average is 66 frames per second, which is very playable. 1080p, medium settings. Yes, we have the AMD Super Resolution, but folks, I mean, it works. It's definitely a playable experience. We can tweak it and do more things, get a couple more frames per second out of it, but considering a 12-year-old system, it's actually not that bad. So let's go ahead and let's move on to the next game. So for our next game, Spider-Man 2. Great game, loved it, beat it twice. But moving on, so 1080p, all low settings, and right now, CPU, 90%, GPU, 100%. We're a little taxed on it, you know? But the game is actually playing pretty good. So we're looking at 60, we get some drops to below 60. Well, it's starting to smooth out. Yeah, it's starting to smooth out. I guess that was just a little hiccup in the beginning. Yeah, not bad, folks. Playable experience, looks pretty decent. Let's go ahead, let's move on to the final game, and then I'm gonna give you my thoughts on all this and how we could probably squeeze a little more performance and all that type of stuff. But considering this is still a viable computer years later. So God of War 2, 1080p, low settings. Not bad, probably about 70 to 80 frames per second. The game looks really good. I mean, considering that the settings that we're on. Now, one thing to note, oh, there we go. We got our first stutter, dropped to 20 frames per second. But interesting thing to note, the temperatures on the system, 60 degrees Celsius, the graphics card, 74 degrees Celsius. But I think the issue with the graphics card is that, well, I don't think I ever repasted it. So it probably could benefit from that. But regardless, it's not at a point that's causing us performance loss. Yeah, so the game is definitely playable. Looks pretty good. Obviously, if we had more of a battle scene, it's probably gonna dive down to about 70 frames per second. And a side note with this game, it has always been glitchy to me, even on my higher end rig. But I mean, it is what it is on that. But 1080p, low settings, very playable. We do have some limitations. We'll talk about that in just a sec. But now that we can see that we can edit, use it as a daily driver, game with it, let's go ahead, wrap up this video and give you my thoughts. So this computer is 12 years old. It's an X99. It doesn't have Windows 11 support. It's a bit outdated, but considering, I mean, how old it is, folks, it actually performs pretty well. Now, here's the thing. You can do your video editing with it. 1080p, still get the job done. If you're not in the big need for efficiency and the fastest speed ever, you can edit 4K videos with this. It might take you a little longer, but it's still doable. Going into the whole gaming thing, if you're not stuck on 1440p, 4K, and you need to have like, you know, hundreds of frames per second, you just want to play, have a good experience, 1080p is definitely going to get the job done. And if you're a little more savvy and you want to have more fun with it, pop in a version of Linux. I mean, there are versions of Linux that, now full disclosure, Linux doesn't mean necessarily that you're gonna have more frames per second, but I will say you will have a smoother experience in the sense that you're not gonna have all that Windows bloatware and junk on it like that. I find the Linux experience with these older systems a lot more enjoyable, but you're still able to use modern gaming. But then the other thing with Linux, multiplayer, there is some little hiccups, there is some workarounds for it, so kind of keep that in mind. But Windows 11 with Rufus, this thing takes all the updates, it works, and if Microsoft drops the hammer, give Linux a shout. Now, as far as upgrades to it, I forget what Xeon I have in there. Xeon numbers always seem to get away from me, and I'll post the non-Xeon equivalent of it. You probably could just find yourself the Intel whatever it is, I think 58, 90, whatever CPU might be, you could probably upgrade the CPU, get a little more performance out of that. And the graphics card. The 1660 Ti is not bad, but it's not the best. Probably something like maybe a 2070 would work for it. Maybe you could probably even squeeze a 3050 or 3060. I've had people tell me that they rock 3060s with this and they enjoy it. But the issue that you run into is because the CPU is dated itself, it's not gonna have the power to really give you all the benefits of that GPU. So kind of keep that in mind. Bottlenecking is a thing, but I truly believe that if you have the right balance with the CPU and graphics card in this, that you can optimize, you can really have a good gaming experience. Even using what we have, it wasn't that bad. If you want something in a budget, stuff like this is still pretty decent. How long would it last? X99 in 2026? Yes, still holds up. How long would it last past that? Who knows? Who really knows? But it goes back to, what do you want to use the computer for? What do you expect out of it? And what's your budget? These are budget options that I enjoy. And older hardware like this, it really gets me excited. I enjoy tinkering with it. I enjoy the aesthetic and the nostalgia of the ketchup and the mustard and just all this type of stuff. I mean, they don't make stuff like this anymore. It is what it is on that. But I mean, considering 2026 being a PC gamer is not as exciting because of the prices, there is stuff like this that really does bring some joy back into it. So X99 2026, is it viable? Absolutely. Older hardware, definitely an option if you're a flipper or if you're one of those that are just trying to get into gaming or PC and all that type of stuff. This stuff is out there. Hopefully you just find a credible builder, or like I recommend, take a chance and learn to do it yourself. A lot of great videos. So with all that being said, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, concerns, criticisms. What are your thoughts on X99 in 2026 being it's 12 years old? What upgrades do you recommend for this PC to get some more performance out of it? And is your daily driver an older PC? If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, and as always, we'll see what we come up with next.